I may have accidentally stopped my stream. We still got more videos to record. I can't end it just yet. All right, the rainbow facets. We need to do the rainbow facet. Din it, 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 din it. Accidentally hit the wrong button and I stopped the stream, but I put it back up and it was too late. Accidentally hit the wrong button and I stopped the stream. Oh, Mr. Kubis, would you like another pork rind, sir? Would you like another rind of the pork? Another pork of the rind. You gotta taste it. Taste it. Taste. There you go. Was it good? Did you like it? Is it a good taste? All right, you ready? Yes. It wasn't intentional. I didn't mean to stop the stream. I just hit the wrong button. Oops, I did it again. I accidentally stopped my stream, and I'm an idiot. Oh, baby, 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 baby. I'm gonna eat a pork rind. How about that? All right, taste. You ready? Taste. Delicious. Yes, you can have it. All right. Okay. Let's do this thing. It's jank-a-lank. Gonna take it to the bank-a-lank. Got jank-a-lank. Bank-a-lank. Make sure I got all these before I start. Alright, fire. Fire, die, fire level up. Poison, die, poison level up. Chain lightning, die. Level up. Nova. Yes, okay. So I got both dies and I got both level ups. There are gonna be like 4 people here for the last video because I was an idiot and stopped my stream. That's okay. I'm an idiot. Let's get this last one out of the way, shall we? Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today, I think we're going to be looking at the last unique item video. I don't know. This might be the last one. I'm going to have to do a double check on all my videos just to make sure I have every single one up, but this one might just very well be the last one, so I may have completed my holy grail. Today we're going to be looking at the rainbow facets, and there are, of course, quite a large variety of rainbow facets. We have the level up facets, and then we also have the die facets. Now, the difference between them, obviously, is that when one of them, if you die, you will trigger the effect, and the other one, when you level up, you will trigger the effect. I think, arguably, the die ones are kind of the better ones just in general, because the effects actually do go off on occasion, whereas the level up ones will cease to be useful, because eventually you will be level 99, for instance, or level 98, and you will probably almost never level up again. And it really makes the level up effects kind of useless. Whereas the die effects could always technically be useful, if you were willing to sacrifice your body into the fires of hell, because every single time that you die, you're going to get the effect. And this has actually prompted some people to actually fill an entire mercenary with these die jewels, and then basically send them in there specifically to die, and watch as the firework shower effect happens of literally all of the crazy meteor, poison nova, chain lightning, and blizzards all occur at the same time in rapid succession to all the monsters nearby. In fact, some people have actually put the die facets into their equipment before in hardcore PvP as a form of mutual destruction. So that, for instance, if, say, you were dueling somebody in PvP in hardcore, and they managed to kill you, then as soon as you die, you would launch off a level 31 meteor, level 51 poison nova, a level 47 chain lightning, and a level 37 rainbow facet for the blizzard. And so you would have all of the effects go off as soon as you fall, and there's a very good chance that you could take your opponent with you if they all managed to hit him, or if he wasn't paying attention. And it's actually pretty funny because it's just like mutual destruction. Now, each one of these facets has a different effect, obviously. We have the fire facet, we have the poison facet, the the lightning facet, and then we have the cold facet. Now, out of these, each one is obviously only going to be useful to characters with those particular abilities. And we also have to talk for a minute about characters that these are not useful for. So, negative enemy fire resistance is a effect which only applies to you. It does not apply to your minions. It does not apply to your traps. It does not apply to your Valkyrie or your mercenary. It does not apply to anyone but you. And if as assassins, it's actually doubly sad because they have obviously fire traps and lightning traps. And the fire jewel and the lightning jewel do not work on the assassin's fire traps or lightning traps because they are considered minions. It is also important to note that if you put these on your mercenary, it will only affect your mercenary. It does not affect you. So if you were to fill a mercenary with as many fire facets as you possibly could, and then you were using something like Meteor or Fireball, it would not affect you and it would not give you any benefit whatsoever. So you have to have these in your equipment to actually make good use of them. A lot of people make this mistake and they think that they can, put them in like their mercs equipment, like they can put a obedience on their mercenary that has negative enemy fire resistance, and they hope that it will help their fire attacks, but it does not. It only helps the mercenaries' fire attacks. The other thing that you have to know is that 5% to fire skill damage is the same exact thing as fire mastery. So fire mastery, lightning mastery are both already present. So if you are a sorceress, the fire skill damage and the lightning skill damage do not actually add 5% to your ability. They add 5% to your lightning and fire mastery, which is actually less than 5%. In the case of cold, however, because cold resistance, or rather the cold mastery, is a negative enemy resistance modifier, the cold mastery does in fact get the full 5%. So in the case of the sorceress, when you have negative enemy resistance or negative 5% enemy cold resistance, that is actually really effective, as well as the plus 5% cold skill damage is also extremely effective on the cold sorceress. Whereas the lightning sorceress gets the major benefit from the negative enemy lightning resistance and not so much from the 5% lightning skill damage. Now, granted, in a perfect world, you would definitely want a perfect version, a 5-5. And that is actually one of the things that we need to talk about, is that the only thing that rolls on the rainbow facets is the percentage of the effect. So it can roll as low as 3% and as high as 5%. So you can find a 3-3, for instance, or a 5-3, or a 3-5. You can also find a 4-5, 4-3, all sorts of various combinations. But what it really comes down to is what you specifically need as a character. As a lightning sorceress, you are more interested in the negative enemy lightning resistance than the lightning skill damage. You want to make sure that you have -5. The lightning skill damage can be 3, 4, or 5. It doesn't really matter. Like I said, in a perfect world, you would want a perfect jewel, but if you are, strapped for cash, so to speak, and you just need a jewel, definitely make sure that the enemy lightning resistance is capped, and don't worry so much about the lightning skill damage. However, if you are a cold sorceress, it's actually the opposite, because cold mastery is negative enemy cold resistance, and you don't necessarily need the negative enemy cold resistance, but you do need the plus cold skill damage, because cold skill damage on a cold sorceress actually does a huge amount for that particular character. Now, granted, each one of these can be useful on a myriad of characters. You can use fire facets on a fire Amazon, a fire druid. You can put it on a fire claws druid, an elemental druid. You can put it on all manner of characters in this game, and you can get good effect out of it. But unfortunately, you need a socket to do so. A lot of the times people will be using rune word helmets and rune word armors, and it really doesn't make for a lot of room for facets. If you're using a Hoto or a spirit in your main hand, if you're using a spirit for a shield, if you've got a Enigma on, you really don't have a lot of socket choices, like a lot of places where you can actually put one of these facets. So if you want to work these facets into your build, you kind of have to figure out other pieces of equipment that are not rune words. Like, for instance, with the lightning facets, one of the main places that people will put a lightning facet is in a Griffin's Eye diadem, which is an absolutely excellent place for a lightning facet. The cold facets tend to go in things like Death's Fathom, which is a very nice cold sorceress orb. Or, for instance, something like a poison facet may go in a wand, like Death's Web. Death's Web is an amazing necromancer wand that already has a very good amount of negative enemy poison resistance, and adding a poison facet to it will make it even more so. So if you had a perfect Death's Web, which is negative 50% enemy poison resistance, and then you were to put a poison facet in it, you would get negative 55% poison resistance, and you would also get +5 poison skill damage. The other thing that we need to talk about with negative enemy resistance is that there is a limit. So even with the sorceress who has cold mastery, there is an upper limit for cold mastery and any kind of negative resistance in the game. And that is negative 100%. The lowest that you can ever possibly take a monster is negative 100%. And that means that if the monster is at 99% resistance, and you would need a total of negative 199% to bring them to negative 100%, because you have to cancel out their 99 to bring them to 0, and you have to take their 0 down to negative 100. This means that sometimes you can overdo it, especially in the case of the cold sorceress. So if you are using cold facets, you want to make sure that you are balancing out your cold mastery along with the facets so that you can possibly get this to the right level and not overkill. The other important thing about negative enemy cold resistance, or negative enemy resistance in general, it does not break immunities. So if you were to have, say, 30 of these peppered in like a Griswold armor, like maybe you just completely filled Griswold's armor with lightning facets and you were running Fist of the Heavens, and you had like negative, what is that, like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25... 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So like negative 60% on your gear, and then you're running Conviction, which is like negative 150%. These will not break the resistance, but Conviction will. So Conviction can actually break resistances at 25 or 20% effectiveness. And these will bring the resistance down further once the resistance is broken. So using Conviction and lower resist in combination with facets and other negative enemy resistance equipment can effectively destroy a monster's resistance all the way down to negative 100%. And that's why facets, as well as other pieces of equipment that have negative enemy resistance, are so powerful in this game, because it gives you the ability to strip away the defenses of the monster, which effectively makes them far easier to kill. Now, where could you potentially use these items? Or what classes could you potentially use these items for? Well, obviously, the cold facets would do very well on a cold sorceress, a hurricane druid, a holy freeze paladin, or an ice amazon. A lightning facet would do very good on a lightning javazon, a lightning spearzon, a lightning sorceress. You can also use it on a holy shock paladin, or perhaps even a trying to remember another lightning class. Well, you can't use them on the assassin because the assassin's traps are lightning, but you could potentially use it on a lightning melee assassin using Phoenix Strike or Claws of Thunder. The poison facets do very well for rabies druids, poison necromancers, and even venom assassins. All three of those have some pretty nice poison abilities, as well as the Amazon's plague javelin. And then the fire ones work very good on the elemental fire druids, the fire sorceresses, the holy fire paladins, if you can squeeze it into your equipment, as well as the fire claw druid, which is also another offshoot kind of the elemental druid. The Phoenix Strike assassin, again, with the claws of fire, and or I think it's fist of fire, actually, for that one. I'm trying to think if there's any more. But basically, if you have a fire ability that you are actually using, they work extremely good. You can also put these in the equipment of your mercenaries. So if you have a mercenary that has a specific elemental damage type, like for instance the Act 1 Cold Mercenary with the Freezing Arrow could definitely use a rainbow facet that's a cold orientated, perhaps in a Nightwing's Veil. If you have the Fire one, which is using Exploding Arrow, that could go very good in a piece of equipment. The Act 3 mercenaries, the Fire, Cold, and the Lightning mercenaries, obviously, respectively, the Cold mercenary would do very good with the Cold, the Lightning would do very good with the Lightning facets, and of course the Fire does very well with the Fire facets. And each one of these is just very useful in their specific situations. I have also seen people just simply take something like a Headhunter's Glory and fill it with facets. Or even a JMod shield, which if you've never seen a JMod shield, JMod shields are essentially a item that has 4 sockets in it, and it has a very nice effect like deflecting, which gives you increased block chance and faster blocking rate. And then what you do is you take like 4 lightning facets and you dump it into the shield to get a very nice negative 20% enemy lightning resistance with 20% enhanced skill damage. And you can utilize that on a wide variety of characters for a good effect. All in all, it's definitely very nice when you find a facet. It doesn't really matter what the facet is, whether it's a cold, lightning, a poison, or fire. If you find one of these facets, you've found something that is extremely useful and can help out a specific character who uses those elemental types. You may also be able to trade those facets for others. Now, of course, there is kind of like a ranking system to the facets, and it follows very similarly to how facets or how the elements work in the game as far as like their overall usefulness. Lightning tends to be at the top of the list, so if we were to rank these by their value, lightning is definitely at the top. It seems like lightning facets tend to be more in demand than any others. Cold is definitely right behind lightning, just in general, and it definitely does seem like a lot of people like to find the cold facets. Although not quite as valuable as the lightning facets, I definitely would say the cold facets are up there. The poison facets tend to be like number 3 There are a decent number of poison characters, and poison is useful, but they're not like as valuable as the lightning and the colds. And then on top of that, we have the fire. The fire tends to be the least valuable just simply because it is, unfortunately, one of the elements that the majority of the monsters in the game are immune to. It's not necessarily that fire is unpopular. There are a lot of fire builds. It's just that there's just so many immune to fire monsters, and a lot of people tend to avoid fire builds as a result. So they are a little less sought after than all the other facets. Now, that's not to say that if you found a perfect fire facet, it wouldn't be worth something, because a perfect fire facet or a perfect facet of any type is definitely one that you should hold on to. And Kubus the monster dog is trying to murderize me here. Would you like this, sir? Would you like this? I'm gonna throw it over there. Get it. Kubus the monster dog attacks. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look and see where we could potentially find this particular item. So let's go over to Silo's pen and let's get an idea of where we could locate our facets. Rainbow facets. I paused it for a second because I'm trying to type in the numbers here. All right, so here we are on the site here, and as you can see, I've typed in about 200% magic find. We have the rainbow facets selected, and we are looking at bosses. And we don't really have a whole lot of bosses here. Ignoring quest kills, we are looking at Bale, Diablo, Mephisto, and Duriel. Those are your three main choices for facets. As you can see, Duriel actually does have a really good chance on his quest kill. And I have heard that if you can quest bug Duriel specifically, quest bug him, he has a really good drop chance for facets. However, quest bugging him is not as easy, for instance, as quest bugging something like Andariel. And you may have trouble even achieving quest bugs for Duriel. And quite honestly, if you can't quest bug him, he is not worth farming at all. Alternatively, you also have Mephisto and Diablo, which are both pretty good options. Quite honestly, both Mephisto and Diablo have pretty decent facet drop chances. Let's take a look at super uniques real quick. And as you can see, we got pretty crappy drop chances here. Neolithek isn't too bad at 1 in 12,705, but it just kind of balloons out from there. Hephaestus is 1 in 22,000. Cold Worm is 1 in 43,000. And it just gets worse and worse from that point. Facets are actually particularly rare, but I have noticed that they drop a little more often than the probability would state, just simply because jewels drop all the time. So to actually get a facet, you have to have a jewel fall on the ground. So when the jewel falls on the ground as a magic jewel, if you're in the correct zone, anytime a magic jewel drops in the correct places, you have a chance to find a rainbow facet. So it's not like, for instance, you have to kill Neolithek 12,705 times, because any monster who is a high enough level to drop a facet and drops a magic jewel has a chance to drop one of these. And so from what I've noticed is, like, say you're going and you're farming a particular zone and you kill like 10,000 monsters on your way to, you know, whatever. And every single one of these monsters is like capable of dropping a facet. You basically have like 10,000 chances for a facet to drop in that zone. Is that going to guarantee you a facet? No, but there is a very good chance that you could get one by farming large groups of monsters. One of the, I think, best farming zones for facets, at least as far as me, my particular favorite is the Travancore Council. I have found, I think, about 6 or so facets from the Travancore Council so far. in my Diablo 2 Resurrected career, not necessarily my Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction career. They're not always the best facets. Sometimes they're 3 3s, sometimes they're 5 3s, sometimes they're 3 5s, and so forth and so on. But I do find them, I think, the most from the council when I'm farming them. And let's take a look and see if the council is on this list. As you can see, the council is pretty awful drop chances at 1 in 57,945. Not even anywhere near as good as farming, for instance, Hephaestus the Armorer at 1 in 22,501. But the council is a pretty popular farming area just simply because they have chances to drop a lot of different items. And on top of that, the council also is super uniques. So super uniques will drop more items in lower player counts than higher player counts. And this is another thing that you have to take into account. So when you are playing on players 8, there is a much higher probability that you will get some of these items, these jewels, specifically when you're farming. So like, for instance, if I were to change this to players 8 and then go to something like, let's do regular monsters. You'll notice that my regular monster drop chance is, what, 25,000, 253,091. But if I change this to players 1, it goes up like exponentially to 674,909. You notice how the drop chance for these is going exponentially up depending on our player count. And this is just because jewels drop everywhere. They drop everywhere from like every single monster in the game. And decreasing the no-kill player count, actually I left myself in the way of the thing. That's great. Recorded that on camera for everybody too. The no-kill drops or the no-drop rolls are actually pretty terrible in Players 1. And this is the reason why the Travancore Council works so good, is because you can farm them in Players 1, and they are guaranteed to drop 2 items at the very least, because all super uniques can drop 2 items. So if you're farming in Players 1, Travancore is the best choice. But if you're farming in Players 8, there may be better choices for you to farm facets, depending on what's going on. Let's see if the cows can potentially drop facets. Be interesting. Is Moo Moo Farms on the list? Moo Moo Farms is not on the list. Let's see here. Just double check. Let me do like a quick search in here. So no. Doesn't look like the cows are capable of dropping it. And I did not see the Cow King on the super unique list either. So facets doesn't look like they can drop in the Cowlum. Now, an interesting thing that is occurring recently is we have the terror zones coming in 2.5. And because the terror zones are coming in 2.5, we are going to have access for the first time to level 99 zones basically everywhere. And that means that facets are going to be dropping in all of those zones. Any zone that's terrorized should technically be able to drop facets where they wouldn't have been able to before. The other thing that we can talk about with facets, since we are talking about all these beautiful facets, is the skills themselves that are on the items. So I'd like to talk about them real quick. So Blaze when level up is kind of useless. As I've said, the level up ones are pretty useless. They don't really do very much for you at all. Let's just kind of ignore the level up ones. The die ones actually do have pretty good effects, because you will die a lot unless you're in hardcore. And we have Meteor level 31, which if you are actually a sorceress can actually do a pretty significant amount of damage. Synergized, of course, it's even better. And let's say, for instance, you were fully synergized. You would, of course, need 20 points into Fire Mastery, and then you would also have to have maxed out Firebolt and Fireball. And that would give us our Meteor, which is going to get a nice little bump. And we are looking at level 31 Meteor, which is kind of insane. And to reach that, I'm going to have to put some points back into my equipment here. And probably grab a torch also. And there we have level 31 meteor, and I'm in the way again. I'm always in the way, aren't I? 31 meteor is 17,972 to 18,787 fully synergized with 1,418 to 1,498 per second. As you can see, it's kind of an insane little hit. It is, of course, only one meteor, but that one meteor is probably going to kill something if you're synergized. If you're not synergized, that's a whole other story, and it's probably not going to do very much damage at all. I mean, we can take a look at unsynergized level 30 meteor really quickly. So unsynergized level 30 meteor is 31 meteor, sorry, is only 1,938 to 2,026. So nowhere near as good, and only 417 to 440 per second on the fire damage. And then we also have level 51 Poison Nova on the Rainbow Facet Jewel, and I don't even think I can even pull that off on a character. This particular item is going to do a pretty decent amount of damage, but do keep in mind that Poison Nova only lasts for 4 seconds. So it's going to be, 4 seconds. It's not even going to really be a very long poison. It's going to hit that damage really fast. And not really sure how useful this would be to actually kill a whole bunch of monsters if you died, because poison damage doesn't tend to do like amazing by itself. You usually need some sort of accoutrement, you know, like a mercenary or an army or you know, attacks, a little bit of attacks here and there, a fire golem or something, which can definitely help. Chain Lightning at level 47 is pretty badass, and it's going to hit a whole lot of targets. I don't even think I can properly show you guys level 47 Chain Lightning, but I can certainly try. Chain Lightning, if it was unsynergized, is not going to be very much damage, but fully synergized, it's going to do some pretty sexy numbers. We're looking at, oh god, I can't even do it all. Let me see if I can redo this real quick. So I can show you level 31, which is about as high as I can go right now, which is 5 to 6,400, and it hits 11 targets. So we're talking about frickin', what is that, level 47, which is going to be a hell of a lot more damage. And unfortunately, again, this is also going to be only when you die. And then we have level 37 Blizzard, which is also going to be a pretty hefty amount of damage. And that one has a ton of synergies, so it's not really like it's something that everybody is going to have fully synergized. But if we're looking at level 31, which is about as high as I can go right now, we're like 1,362 to 1,431. And we could, of course, fully synergize it with Glacial Spike, Ice Blast, and Ice Bolt. And it's going to go to 4,740 to 4,980, which it's interesting to note that Blizzard does last for a little while. It has a duration of 4 seconds, so it's going to dish out a pretty large amount of damage in that time period. But all in all, with these die effects, they're really not like something that you're ever going to like super rely on, unless you want to build like a super suicide merc, which I was talking about earlier. Basically just, you know, a character that runs in, like your mercenary runs in, and he has like all these die facets on him, and you of course put those on there just for him to die with, and then all these effects pop up at the same time. Now, it doesn't really do anything for these particular jewels, but it is important to note that when you put two jewels or two effects in any particular armor or character, the effects will combine. So if I were to put two, for instance, poison facets in a piece of equipment, the 100% chance to cast level 51 Poison Nova would combine with the other 100% chance to cast level 51 Poison Nova. So you do not get two Poison Novas. Instead, it just combines the percent chance. Now, normally, if you had like 2% chances that were relatively low, it would actually be, you know, kind of useful, because you could have, you know, like say a 10% chance and a 10% chance that would combine to 20. But if you put two facets in an item, it just combines to 200% chance, and I don't think that actually does anything other than just nothing, because it's already at 100% chance, and it's always going to go off when you die. I don't think there's really a whole lot more to talk about with these facets. They are extremely useful to a lot of characters, and they don't always work into every single build because, of course, rune words are negating them in a lot of situations. But where they do fit into builds, they fit in very nicely. Like putting a poison facet in a death's web, or putting a lightning facet in a griffin's eye diadem, or putting a cold facet in a death's fathom's orb. There are a lot of really nice uses for facets, and if you do find one, definitely hang on to it because it is worth something. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, even when we are talking about rainbows. And as always, keep watching. No, the levels do not stack. Only the percent chance. That's why I talked about the percent chance stacking. I'm pretty sure I have a couple of them laying around that I can show you guys. I actually just finished recording the video, so this is outside the video. I know you want to go downstairs, Koopus. I know you bored up here. Your whole life is a lie. I don't give you enough pork rinds. I don't give you enough. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, go! If you check my community post on my YouTube channel, iBond Villain, Pez Radar just released a comment about that today. If you want to take a look at it, it's up there for you. I'm trying to think of what characters I have that actually have like some socketed pieces of equipment that I can put the facets in. I think the easiest way to do this is just go to Griswold's set, because I don't think I have anything in the Griswold set. Alright, that's a level up. Alright, let's take these 2 cold facets over to the Griswold set and let's play around with it. Oh, Grizzy busy. Oh, can't you see? Oh, Grizzy busy. What you mean to me? I got pork rinds for the doggy. And he gonna go get it. I don't think it's a priority in any way, comically high. I feel like a loot filter is one of those things that is an afterthought. I think most people probably won't use it, and if the loot filter is done incorrectly, I think it could hurt the game as a whole. I think the problem with the loot filters is that a lot of people are envisioning like a loot filter similar to something that is in maybe like Path of Exile. But I really doubt, like I really doubt that you're going to see anything of that complexity come from Blizzard. Like, the best that we're going to get is, like, a loot filter that is probably going to filter out entire branches of items, like magic items, set items, unique items. And I don't really feel like it's going to be as viable as a lot of people would like to believe. So let's take these 2 and put it inside of Griswold's Valor. So we're going to go, bink, and you can see we got 100% chance to cast, level 43 Frost Nova when you level up. And then we put the second one in there, and it goes to 200% chance to cast, level 43 Frost Nova when you level up. So it does not increase the level, it only increased the percent chance. The percent chances combine, and the level does not. Which basically means that putting multiple facets in your piece of equipment won't give you multiple procs. It's actually something that I learned about recently when I did my chance to cast video. If you guys haven't seen my Chance to Cast video and you're interested in Chance to Cast, I have like sort of an advanced Chance to Cast guide, which goes over a lot of the like advanced mechanics when it comes to Chance to Cast. I guarantee you that if you've never researched this topic, you don't know any of this stuff, because even I was learning new things as I researched this topic for Chance to Cast. There is stuff in here like the order in which abilities are cast, depending on the order in which you equip your equipment. Which spell or curse goes first. There is actually an order. All sorts of interesting things involving Chance to Cast, including how Chance to Cast combines and when it does not combine. So Chance to Cast will always combine percentages if the two levels of the items are the same. However, it will not combine percentages if the levels of the item are different. Like, for instance, if you were to put on 2 carrion winds, the 2 carrion winds will combine percentages together, and you will have a much larger effect in general. But if you put on a carrion wind and a wind hammer, the carrion wind does not combine with the wind hammer. They're actually 2 separate effects. A lot of this I had to research when it came to the Godzilla, because the Godzilla was utilizing 2 different items which procced holy bolts, and I needed to find out whether the items were proccing at the same time, whether they were overriding each other, whether there was next hit delay. A lot of very interesting things that go on with Chance to Cast. Chance to Cast is definitely a very interesting topic, just in general. Oh, goodness. Here's the monster dog. Why are you so big? Why are you so big? Some people say I beat my dog. I was like, you got to give him beats. I'm not saying beat your dog up. You got to give him beats. Beats is when you do this. Use them like a drum. Why are you triggering my outro, sir? Get off my keyboard. Get down. You're messing everything up, sir. Heck, nabbits. Good Lord. And you brought your kitty up here. Why did you bring your kitty up here? Last time he came up here, he stole something from me. Take your kitty. All right, guys and gals, I managed to complete the series as far as I know. I'm going to go ahead and upload all these to the to my channel. I'm going to get these edited, and I'm going to have some fun. For those of you guys who've joined me until the end, let me give you a sneak peek on what's coming tomorrow. So tomorrow, I was actually scheduled a couple of the shields, which I hadn't finished. So I have the let's see here. I have the Steel Shade Armet, which for some reason I missed that helmet. And then I have the Pelta Lunata Buckler, which is a particularly overpowered low-level buckler. It's actually kind of insane for its level. I might have to put together, like, the most ridiculous low-level character, like, ever devised, just for a fun video. Because there are some unique items in this game which are absolutely insane. And as far as I know, like, if you were to put every single insane low-level, like, unique item on one character, they would literally just be God until, like, the end of Act, like, 5 normal. I don't really have a spreadsheet, no, Comically High, but I do have a checklist that I was putting together. And as far as I know, I'm finished. I am going to double check over everything just to make sure that I am actually finished. But as far as I know, I'm finished. Like I said, I'm gonna have to like take a day, and I'm just gonna have to go through everything and make sure that I'm actually complete. But one thing that you can do, if you'd like to help me check, is I have playlists. So I've set up playlists for every category, and the playlists for every category have just those items in it. Like now I have a unique shield playlist. I have a unique helmet playlist, a unique rings and amulet playlist, unique staves and orbs playlist, so forth and so on. So after my last video posts, it could be very easy to go through the playlist and see what's missing. And if you guys want to give me a heads up and be like, hey, this item is missing from the unique playlist, then feel free. I will make the item. Why are you so big and heavy, you monster dog? I'm trying to tell them goodbye, sir, so we can go. Why you gonna do this to me? You're a monster. You're a monster. That's what you are. Don't lick my microphone. Why would you lick my microphone? Why do you lick everything? This is your whole life is licking stuff. Lick everything. Okay, you love me. I know. God bless it. All right, guys. I gotta go. My dog is not gonna let me do any more streaming today. He said, "You're finished. That's it. It's over. Let's go. No more, sir." All right, guys and gals. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals joining me for these live streams. And Monster the Coober the Monster Dog has said it's time to go. So goodbye. Goodbye, everybody.